Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die to get there. B.B. King. Sooner or later, most of us, or perhaps our family members, will be shopping for one of these, or one of these. Currently, 25 to 30% of human remains in Iron County are cremated. Iron County gravestones showcase the unique as well as the crafted. This stone from Modena, written in Chinese, honors a migrant railroad construction worker. Some show the ravages of time, others seem totally forgotten. Gravestones remind us of lives taken too soon, or perhaps invite us to sit and stay a while. Still others are indelible monuments of local history. He was shot and killed December 16, 1886, in cold blood by a deputy United States Marshal, while under indictment for a misdemeanor under the Edmunds anti-polygamy law.
Cedar City was founded in 1850-1851. As you may know, the first settlement was the Wagon Box Camp, just east of the hospital. Then they moved to the Cedar Fort, which is down, so I-15 cuts it in half. And in 1854, Brigham Young came to visit the community and went to right behind Lynn's grocery store, actually, and put his cane down and said, "You need to move from the fort and build south and west." So right about that time is when they very quickly from the Cedar Fort moved up this to modern-day Cedar City, the geography of modern-day Cedar City. Now, people had died in Cedar City before that. The first person that really is recorded of that is Joseph Chatterley, and there's children and other things that have passed away. So when they moved up this way, they reinterred those bodies into the current Cedar City Cemetery. So the cemetery as we know it, the first and oldest plot, is 1855. Joseph Chatterley has the honor or privilege or whatever of being the first person buried in the Cedar City Cemetery. He'd been dead for at least 2 years, we know, before they had moved him up to the cemetery. Probably the most infamous or famous headstone we have is the Mary McCune headstone, where it specifically mentions how she was contracted rabies by a rabid coyote and then essentially euthanized by most of her family by suffocation, and her husband came home from a trip and found that not only was she dead, but her infant or her unborn child was dead as well. And that story, by the way, has a lot of it is apocryphal. The family of Miss McCune is not too pleased about how that ended up on the tombstone, and no one really knows how, but that kind of becomes very well known.
You know, every community has its treasure. Every community has something that they really, really love and admire and take care of and protect. And in Parowan, we have quite a few things like that. But one of the most precious commodities we have in our community is our cemetery. Our cemetery began in 1851, the year the saints came. But, in fact, it was hallowed ground previous to that. There have been a number of incidents where Native Americans have been found within the walls of our cemetery. It originally had a wooden fence put around it to keep the livestock out. It had an archway that was wooden, but in 1938, the WPA had a Make Works project, and the men of Parowan, about 21 men, went out, found a rock, brought it in from the North Hills, and built our cemetery wall that includes an arch. And so when you drive through there, you really literally drive into this precious, precious possession of our community. became aware, I was teaching school at the time in the late 70s, and we became aware that there was some vandalism that was occurring within our cemetery, around our community, but very concerning that some vandalism had occurred in the cemetery. There were some tops of headstones that had been shot at. An occasional headstone had been toppled. And as a humanities department at Parowan, the English and social sciences, the teachers got together and we decided maybe we could do something about this. Maybe we just needed to teach the value, the social conscience that a citizen needs to have in our community. And so we put together a history of the cemetery, and we have ever since. They have continued to do walking tours of the Parowan Cemetery.